Showtime, it says. Hello, everybody. Cheri from the Watering Mouth here. So glad to have you here with me for watching the replay. Let me know by typing replay in the comments. I want to just do a shout out to you when I get to the comments later after this video. Thanks for showing up. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. We are doing free public live coaching today. I'm going to try to do this every week. And Sam graciously volunteered to come on and be coached about something specific. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. I want to give you a little information about what we do here. We follow the Eat to Live lifestyle or some variation of it, plant-based or not. We try to just eat healthy, get consistent. And what I've been doing for many years is coaching people on consistency, coaching them on, yeah, sure, the details of Eat to Live and what needs to be done, but that's like, those are the details. What really interests me and what my expertise is helping people get over emotional eating, overeating, binge eating, so that they can finally feel in control of their food, their body. And then more so, as we get better and better at the stuff that I teach, we start to be able to apply these lessons to everything else in our life. And Sam and I are going to talk a little bit about that today too in her example. But how do I do this? It's because I'm a life coach also. So I'm not only an Eat to Live expert, but I'm also a life coach. And I'm certified in a specific method from the Life Coach School, which has changed my life and many other folks who've been in my programs as well. So I'd love to tell you a little bit more about that today. We're going to go into that. And you can see previous examples of this free coaching that I've done every Friday for the last month, just to sort of see how we do it and see if it might be useful for you. And we're going to jump in here with Sam so you can kind of get a taste of what this is like. And if you are interested, this is the type of coaching that we do. So if you want to learn how to end emotional eating, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you don't. But if you want to learn how to stick to the Eat to Live diet or whole foods plant-based or just anything, really, it doesn't even have to be Eat to Live. We can coach people to follow any type of an eating style, but we don't really love keto. I'll just say up front. But we can coach people on any style of eating. And really what I'm trying to do is just create peace with our food. I'm trying to create a peaceful place where food is not the enemy anymore. We don't feel out of control. We feel like we can finally move on to the next thing that's important to us, which is going to come up in Sam's coaching. So one last note. If you are interested in talking with us a little bit more about this, feel free to sign up. Actually, can't quite sign up. You got to just watch the free training video first here, thewateringmouth.com/free-training. Watch that video. We'll tell you all about how to get on a discovery call with us. Okay. So Sam.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Great. Yes, help.
We chatted a little bit this morning, you and I, over the phone, just what we were going to kind of talk about. Can you kind of give us a little bit in your own words here, what you feel like you want to be coached about today?
Yes. So I'm in using the words efficiently, but for context. I'm in a process of recreating my life. That's a summary. Yep. Lots of ups and downs in the last decade. I'm a spiritual person, and I felt like 2023, I was told, can be a year 1 or a year 11 for a lot of things I was dealing with. So I chose year 1, but it's been a lot of intense stuff. Okay. And last year specifically, I dealt with the thing that nobody wants to deal with. That's been going on since 2020. And I ended up with the long version, which for me looked like a total, like my body was shutting down, extreme inflammation. Like I would fall asleep in the middle of the day, fall asleep for hours. Like there was no regularity, no schedule. It was terrifying. And my identity was falling apart as a helper who doesn't need help, who now needed help and couldn't help.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff happened. My workload went to very low. It's a job that I still have.
The COVID created that for you because of the not being able to. Okay.
Yeah. And I had this employer I had a few hours with, but then he gave me more because it's the only possible job I could do from home.
Okay.
Mostly because he was gracious enough to work with my falling apart.
Okay.
Not a job I want to keep. not something that fills me up, not something I'm skilled to do, and I don't do it well.
Okay.
So that was part of the identity. That's a whole thing.
Okay, sure.
But last year, developed ridiculous eating habits. I really went into last year before the virus, trying to heal my relationship with food, kind of almost like an all-in mentality. Like, I'm just going to let myself figure it out. And then with the amount of shutdown and inflammation my body was experiencing and adrenaline, it just developed into like a once daily overeating cycle, like once daily, every day. So I'm processing that. That's that. So, but when I called you this morning and I was thinking about what one specific piece of this, that I'm just so stuck in is that literally I just gave up on everything in the house. There is so much just accumulation of stuff and it is a mess. It is unorganized. It's way too much. I feel completely overwhelmed. And the reason that's important to the eating part is I now am getting visions and ideas and healing emotionally and trying to work on the physical, but there's just so much here. I'm like, part of me wants to burn the whole, not like I'm going to burn my house down, but just like put to flames everything because I don't want to deal with it. But I literally can't. Like, I'll walk into one room and see like, okay, let me just try all the things. Pomodoro timer, 5 minutes a day, whatever. But it's like I pick up an object and it's like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know, keep it or leave it. And I walk back out of the room. And it's like emotionally overwhelming too.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't make progress. I'm barely making progress trying to fix my physical habits, let alone, oh, what am I passionate about? Let me start this, like, maybe business ideas. I can't do any of it because the environment's shutting me down.
Okay.
So that's what I feel like would be helpful.
Wonderful. That's so concise and wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. So how many of us on this call can relate in some way to what she's talking about, right? Like, wow, this comes up so much. And I'll tell you, just in the last year, I've dealt with several clients about hoarding, not saying that you're a hoarder, but
no, it's hoarding.
Right, the idea comes up. Go ahead.
And there's food hoarding too, which is a really weird thing to deal with. But like, as I wake up to it, I'm like, why is there so much food stuff and stuff and just all the stuff? And I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just break this down into a model. It's going to make it look a little simpler because here's what happens, folks. We stay in our head. Okay, I'm going to tell you about this little trick I have here. My kids always take my markers and then they leave the caps off. So I put them up where they can't reach them. Am I smart or what? I just figured that out today. Okay. So what always happens is we have these issues and I wouldn't say like, so Allison, totally relate. Natalie says, I completely relate. Food and stuff hoarding for sure. Feel free to give me any other comments or thoughts that you guys have as we're going through this. Any aha moments. Let me know how you're feeling. Let's make this interactive, not just me and Sam, but all you too. Okay. So problem is that the first issue is that these issues go on for so long because we don't get them out and talk about them, right? We don't, like what we always say in our coaching too, is like the point of our coaching is to open the junk drawer, put it all out on the table and sort it. And a junk drawer, I mean our brain, because there's so many thoughts in there that are not useful. And so funny because that's exactly what you want to do physically in your life, literally. And we're not doing it emotionally, right? Hello, Dorothy. I'm happy to see you. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is put it on the board so we can actually just like look at it. This is the process of dumping out the drawer, right? So you did some of that already by giving me a big thought download about what was coming up for you and everything. But I want to find a model in here that feels useful for you. So when I say model, this is the coaching tool that I use in my coaching. We use lots of other tools too, but the one that we're specifically going to be using right now on these calls is the model because it sounds a little like I'm overdoing it, but the model will help us solve literally any problem. Okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a quick a quick overview of the model. If you haven't seen it before, you'll see this every time I do this coaching. But the idea is that we have circumstances in our life, facts. Then we have thoughts about those circumstances. Our thoughts influence and create our feelings. And then our feelings are actually what drive what we do or don't do, our actions. And then when we put all of our actions together in one big pile, we have our results. Okay. Now, results, this is the model. I'll show you why this is useful in a moment. But our results are interesting because the results are they always come back a demonstration of what our thoughts were. This is fascinating because what it means is that our results, no matter what we have in our life, and when I say results, think of like the numbers or things in your life, like 250 pounds, green car, like all the stuff that's like very specific facts, right? Like mom of two, whatever that might be, the results that we have in our life, married, not married, divorced, single, living in Africa, whatever it might be, the results that we have in our life are directly related to what we were thinking. Now, this might be news for you, but what's so wonderful, we always say in coaching, this is the best news ever, because it means that everything in our life is based on what we're thinking about it. And so how do we change everything in our life? By changing our thinking. That's it. That's all we need to do. Now, it's easier said than done when we're not used to it, but we can do this. And I'm going to just give you an example of how this works with Sam here today. So that's what I'm trying to do on these calls, is show you, everyone watching and whoever's being coached, that your results actually are coming from your thoughts. And I'm also going to dismantle them on this call as well. I was telling Sam this morning, like, that's all we want to do, is we want to dismantle the way we think about it now, because people are always going to tell you, oh, just work on the action line. Like Sam said, what she does is she tries the Pomodoro technique. She tries this, she tries that to get herself motivated to this, to that. The answer is not in the action line. The answer is in the thought line, because the thought line, your beliefs, your current thoughts are what are holding you back. That's what we mean when we say limiting beliefs. The stuff that you're believing is limiting you, limiting your results. So we want to demolish that so that you can grow. That's how we do this. Okay. And we apply this. Go ahead, Sam. Yeah.
Is the belief, so you're calling beliefs and thoughts the same thing? That would be in the same category?
Yeah. So this whole category here, thoughts, beliefs, and also I was actually just talking with Coach Nancy about this a minute ago on the phone. Automatic signals as well, I put in this category. So for instance, if we have trauma from our past and we have a somatic response to something that we don't understand, we just clam up or we get frustrated or scared or whatever. That's a thought too, but it's automatic. It's a signal. So all of that is in this place right here. And once we unearth it, and once we dump that junk drawer out and see it for what it is, that's when we can start making progress on it and getting different results. But for instance, if we're constantly responding from a past trauma in our life, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's holding us back. So if we want to move past, we need to change our belief and our thought and our automatic response about that trauma. Now, I'm not saying that this is always possible for everyone, because some people, they are comforted with trauma. They want to stay there. They're not ready. It's like telling someone to move out of the grieving stage after so-and-so died. Like, no, we're all going to take this at our own pace, and everyone's pace is perfect. It's the way it's supposed to be. It's just that if we want to have certain results, we know some things that we can start to work on. Okay. So there's no shaming either about where people are or where they should be, or so-and-so should have gotten over this by now. It's just that we have the power within ourselves to work through this. Okay. And that's empowering. That's beautiful. It's not shaming. It's not, pushing people or being judgmental or anything. It's that we have the power within us to do whatever we want. That's the best news ever. Okay. So Sam, let's look at some of the things you said. So you said, I'm just stuck. I'm going to put stuck and overwhelmed, because those are the words that you used first. You're stuck and you're overwhelmed. Now, you told me a lot of sentences, but I'd like for you to just tell me again, why do you feel stuck and overwhelmed with the stuff in the house?
because, so I don't know if you're familiar with parts work, but that's how I think, is like different parts of parts of self. So why I feel stuck is that there's absolutely parts of me that are like I said before, burn the house down, just get it all out, start over. And there's parts of me that are deeply connected to and emotionally attached to all of the things, or just the fact that there's all things.
Yep.
And there's other parts that are like, wanting to go, like, okay, I'll do it, but I need to go through every single thing and make a decision about it. But then another part that's like, that's way too much work and I will never get that done.
Okay.
So it's like stuck and overwhelmed is literally, what's that word? Conflicting parts of my thoughts.
Yeah. And isn't it funny, those of you watching this, you get an internal sense of, yeah, it's like that for me too, right? When we can't make progress with something, it's because we have conflicting thoughts and conflicting ideas on it that are keeping us where we are. So if we've always been at this one weight, right? There can be other factors involved, like medication or things like this, but all it means is that the math has changed nowadays, and now we have to find new ways to find our way out. And when we're in a place of stuck and overwhelmed, we're not creative. We're not looking for new ways to do things, right? We stay overwhelmed and stuck. And so there was a sentence you said that was interesting. Oh, hi, Stephanie. Yay. Glad you feel the same way. And welcome, Shivam. And you said the secret too. Yeah, this is pretty much what we're doing here is figuring out how to unlock the patterns in our own brains. Hi, Linda. And hey, Victoria. So one sentence that was interesting for me when you said, there's a part of me that's deeply connected and emotionally connected to all of the things. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I just find that I recently was asking myself about that, having had that thought and questioning that thought. And I know this is illogical consciously, but I feel like it's as if there's pieces of myself from the past, which maybe I've not dealt with, that are inside of or remembered by these things.
Okay.
So I don't, I guess there's fear in, which I'm going to assume is the actual answer because I'm like getting emotional. I think there's fear in just trusting myself to just move forward, like that I wouldn't accidentally remove something from sight or access that's a part of something I should remember or someone I should be holding on to or something from before now.
Yeah.
So but like it gets to like really stupid stuff, like a piece of ribbon. Okay. And I'll pick it up and be like, can't get rid of that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But at some point in the past, I kept it because it was valuable to me in that moment. Yeah. And it's very weird to not feel like I have the authority to just get rid of it now.
Interesting. Let me write that down.
That was not planned. We just found a deep thought.
Well, the ones we cry about are the ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have this situation of stuff, right? Stuff in-house. And the thought is something like, there's a bunch of things swimming in here, but there's a lot of stuff from my past. Maybe I haven't dealt with yet. I'm not ready to move past them. There's fear in trusting myself to move forward. I'm worried I'm going to accidentally remove something out of sight or access that I should remember. I don't have the authority to throw it out. So look at this beehive of thoughts you have, Sam, that are keeping you exactly where you are. Can you see how many thoughts are in there? And that was just in me asking you two simple questions. And you have a whole beehive of, this is exactly why I can't throw this stuff out. Now, friends, can you see that changing the action line is not going to change her house? Because if she just goes in and says, I'm just going to use the Pomodoro technique, which by the way is one where you're like, I just do a little bit at a time, so it's not overwhelming, right? That's the action line. If she was like, I'm just going to use the Pomodoro technique, these thoughts are still there. Her whole belief system is fully intact. So when she tries to go try any like little habit or habit stack or get to try this new thing or whatever, she's always going to be held back by what she's thinking about the stuff, which is like, these are pieces of my past that I'm not ready to let go of. She's saying, I don't have the authority to let go of these, right? These are strong, large beliefs. Of course, she's not throwing her stuff out because she has a very strong story about the importance of this stuff. So I want to shift to ribbon. Okay. And I want to take this ribbon example. It sounds maybe like a silly example, but I want to do the ribbon one. Okay. So we have ribbon. And what do you think? Is like one of the thoughts was, I don't think I have the authority to throw it out. At some point in the past, I kept it because it was valuable to me in the moment. Okay. I kept this before because it was valuable then. So maybe it still is, right? And then the feeling is, what's the feeling there? What's the emotions? Like I kept this before because it was valuable. So I should just hold on to it. I don't know what to do with it. What's the feeling?
Are you asking me? Or are you asking the people?
Yeah. What's the type of emotion? Sorry. What's the sort of one word emotion that comes up for you when you think, I kept this, you're sitting in front of the ribbon, you're thinking about it. You go, I kept this before because it was valuable to me then. So I don't know what to do with it. What do you feel when you think that?
I have had help for this. I'm just letting you know.
Great.
But as soon as you said that, it just became really clear. I've had in the past dealt with moving past an interest in being done with life.
Gotcha.
And the person before that wore ribbons in her hair all the time. So, yeah.
The person before, the one who was struggling?
The one who was struggling, and then in moving past it, there's kind of a level of reinvention that a person goes through to make that easier.
Okay. So we remove the ribbons.
Yeah. So it's not like I don't love ribbons in my hair. I just don't right now. So it's not really useful to my life right now. But it was.
It was. Thank you for sharing with all of us. This is so helpful to many that are watching this, I know. So your bravery does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. Thank you.
And I have help for that too. So I'm not like here.
This is good. Good to know. Yep. But now we can see that it's not just ribbon to you, right? Now we can see very, very clearly that it's not just ribbon. And perhaps because of the heaviness of what we're dealing with the ribbon, perhaps many things in the rooms are in a similar sort of thought pattern. Okay. So perhaps if we deal with the ribbon and we understand the ribbon one, maybe it will help with the other ones too. So let's stay on the ribbon. Okay. Let's see what some folks are saying. Hi, Jude. So happy to see you. Hi, Deb. And Dorothy says, so vulnerable. Thank you. Dorothy says, that's the mystery. What I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and why, and the belief. If we think hard enough, we will know. I sometimes think too much thinking keeps me stuck. It's so true. That's why we hire coaches, right? Like that's why it's harder for me to get my own stuff straight in my life than it is to straighten someone else's because I can see it so easily. And Shivam says, holding the ribbon or try to throw the ribbon will not work as effectively. That's right. And so here's, but think and doing anything other than, well, and this is the thing too, is like, I think the point we're kind of getting at here, Shivam, is it's so much more than a ribbon, right? And every single item in your home has so much more meaning, so much meaning that it's hard to let them go. And where does the meaning come from, Sam? I want to know, like, the meaning behind the ribbon, who made up that meaning?
I just know that I used to love those, and I do love those. I just don't use them now. So there's a struggle of, if there was input meaning, the struggle of being brought up to think if there's utility and it's not broken, you can't get rid of it because that's waste.
Yeah.
And yet, so anyway, and yeah, it is more than ribbon, because as you said that, I was like, it's all the stuff is from specific versions of me over time. It's not just like, oh, let's pick a different, it's just the ribbon. It's not just the ribbon. It's like so many things.
So let me ask you this question. What does it mean when you say these things are from specific versions of me? So for instance, let's think of the ribbon specifically, but like if you threw it out, I'm not saying you're going to, but if you did, what does it mean about that past version of you? What happens to her?
Sitting here having a conscious conversation, it just seems simple, like nothing happens to her. And I can also first of all, I don't actually want to go backwards. That's the thing that I just thought of now. I don't actually want to go backwards and become past version. I would become a future updated version.
Okay.
But I don't know. That didn't connect in my head.
Beautiful. So one of the things you're afraid of, the fear comes up when you think, I will accidentally remove something out of sight or access that I should remember. So talk to me about should remember when it comes to the ribbon.
I guess that's interesting. So what just literally immediately came up was, I don't know that I feel fully comfortable with myself now.
Okay.
And definitely there's parts of the past where I just remember feeling more myself or more comfortable. And so I don't know if it's as much that I want to go backwards. I don't think I want to go backwards. I think if I felt settled and secure now inside, then I don't think I would be so worried about I don't think it's going backwards. I think it's feeling the same embodiment of my soul, which I had back then.
What do you mean when you say, I don't feel fully comfortable with myself? What you say, if I felt settled and secure now, how do we feel settled and secure? How are you going to get there?
It wasn't so much external as it was, I just had connections that felt stable with people until they weren't. And either work or commitments that I was in because I loved and was loved to be in. And I physically felt generally happy with the state of my body and the state of what foods I was choosing and when and how, and that was simple or simpler. Even if it wasn't simple, I felt very consciously aware of and on track with the things coming into me in mind and body are things I agree with.
Okay. So what you're telling me in a way is that in order to feel stable and secure, you must have your work situation figured out. You must be physically happy with the state of your body. You must be eating the way you want to. That's how you're going to feel stable and secure. Those are the things that create stability and security for you.
That sounds correct.
Okay, hold on one sec. So what you just told me was that in order to feel stable and secure, you must have work figured out. You must have food figured out. And what are the other things you said? Physical stuff figured out.
And safe connections.
And safe connections. Okay. So what you're saying is that the only way to feel stable and secure is by fixing all the stuff in your life first in order to feel safe and secure and stable.
That's what I feel like. You're welcome to tell me that's not accurate and help me work through that, but that's how I feel right now.
Right. I'm not going to say it's not accurate. It is where you are, and that's why you have trouble throwing things out. But what's happening here is that you're saying, I have to have everything in my life lined up before I can feel good. I have to have my life sorted before I can be happy, emotionally stable, that these things outside of me, other people, work, things that I do not control, these things outside of me that I cannot control. You cannot control work, by the way. It's not your business, right? Yeah. Your physical body you can control, but what happens when we get sick, or what happens when we get in a car accident, or what happens when life happens, right? So what you're saying is all of these things that are in fact out of your control have to be in control before you can feel stable and secure.
That sounds like there's probably a better way to think of that, but that's how I feel right now.
Yes, of course, because this is a limiting belief for you. So we're going to work on this one, okay? Mm-hmm. Stability and security comes from, got to have my job lined up, got to have this, got to have that. Now, I want to think about, I put this in the model and you can kind of obviously see what I'm alluding to. That stability and security actually comes from your thoughts. It actually doesn't come from anything in your outside world. It comes from in here, comes from within, stability and security. So trying to find a good example here, like stability and security. This is going to be a huge one for a lot of you, I think, because I keep coming up with ideas that seem a little tough to think about, like someone who's in the military, right? Who gets shipped off to war. And none of the stuff that's going on is their choice, right? They don't know what's going to happen, all this kind of stuff. How can they feel stable and secure? How can they feel a sense of stability and security? It's in the way that they're thinking about the situation. So take this very off the wall example here of a soldier in the Middle East, right? An American soldier in the Middle East. How does he feel stable and secure? Is it by getting the war straightened out? Making sure that his commanding officer sends him to a place that's safe, blah, 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 right? Is that how he does it? No, of course not. It's impossible. He cannot make those things happen. So how can he, in fact, find stability and security? Many of you watching this might think, well, he just has to wait till he gets home, right? I just have to wait until this thing calms down in my life and then I can feel stable and secure. You can do that if you want, but it wastes a lot of time. It wastes a lot of time being stuck in instability and insecurity. When the beautiful part about humanity and our capability is that we can choose stability and security right now, just in how we're thinking. So Sam, let's talk a little bit about how we might choose stability and security with our thinking. Now, it might not be accessible for you right now, and that's okay. I'm going to help you think about this a little bit, but talk to me about that time where, let's see if you said, so you felt secure before. Talk to me about the time where you did feel secure before.
Well, I guess a few different times, but just they all had the same feeling, so it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
I guess.
Where did it come from, the stability and the security?
I have.
Did you have a perfect job at the time?
No.
Did you have your food all figured out, your body all figured out at the time?
No.
So what you're telling me is that none of these things were actually working, and you still felt stable and secure.
I guess what was making it feel then, that's odd. Because looking back, the first thing I thought of was that that's what I was experiencing then. But so here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I try to reflect on that. Yeah. Everyone has trauma, big T, little T, whatever you want to call it. But I do know for a long time, I was dealing with absolute not feeling stable in myself. And so the only reason external things at the time were making me feel that way is because there was external validation that I was in the right place, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Or physically doing the right thing and looking the right way and just all those things. I guess it was actually that I was externally validated. And I didn't trust my own validation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm gonna go real vague here about trauma, because I'm not a trauma specialist. I know a little bit about trauma, but I'd like to just say for any of us who have trauma in our past, oftentimes that's what we'll do is we'll look for the outside world to create stability because the outside world created instability before. Right? So this outside thing that we could not control created instability in our heart. And so then we thought that our stability came from there. And so we looked for outside things to create stability again. But I was take a little example here. Like say you're in a hurricane and you're in your house, right? What do? You go into an internal section of the house to try to be stable. You just do whatever you can to get internal, framed in so that the hurricane can't hurt you, right? But you have a choice in that moment. When you're inside that external frame, you have a choice in that moment. Two things. Either you freak the heck out or you come into a place of peace. Now, let's look at the two different things. We are in a hurricane. The hurricane is headed straight for our house. We're in a closet freaking out, or we're calm. How could those two things exist? One of them would be based on the thoughts. Now we're looking at calm here during hurricane. One of them, calm. So freaking out would be, oh my God, we're going to die. This is the worst thing ever. I can't believe this is happening. We're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. Now, let's look at the calm one. How could you be calm in the middle of a hurricane? We're in a hurricane. We could die. Very real possibility. No need to freak out. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I will either die or I won't. But
what's really interesting is as you talk, just now this occurred to me. I'm in Florida. In a hurricane, I am comfortable. Like I am more comfortable in extreme crisis situations because the environment demands I focus on something and like make peace with it and everything's fine.
Beautiful.
Oh, good. Because right now it doesn't sound, sorry, I'm falling over.
Perfect, Sam.
Great. That's great. Because in my head, that felt like a rich. So you have that.
This is amazing, right? Because these are the things that we always want to be in. It doesn't matter what situation we're in. We want to be focused, peaceful, stable, secure. But guess what? It comes from our thoughts. If we're in a hurricane, and I used to live in Florida too, so I know all about the hurricane. Hurricane, either we panic and we worry and we're freaking out. And by the way, we don't make good decisions in those situations, and things rarely turn out good when we're freaking out. When do we make the best decisions? It's here. I always like the example of the paramedic, right? I'm sure some of you know people who are a paramedic or whatever. Would we prefer our paramedics to be freaking out, or would we prefer them to be calm? When will they make the best decisions? Would we prefer our neurosurgeons to be freaking out about worry, or would we prefer them to be calm? So how do they create calm? It's the same thought pattern as the hurricane. This is what I'm going to just do my best. We're talking about the neurosurgeon, right? Or the paramedic. There's a car pile up. All these people are dying and injured and all this. If they're frantic and freaking out and trying to fix the thing or think, oh, this isn't going to work, this is horrible, this is really bad, they're wasting time. thinking about stuff that's not helpful in the moment, right? What is a focused, peaceful, stable, secure way of thinking of that car accident for the paramedic as, all right, I'm just going to do my best. We're going to go in here. I'm going to go in order of, severity, try to diagnose the progress and do problems and do some triage here. And we're going to just get this sorted out. We're going to do the best we can. If someone dies, it's not my fault. I'm doing exactly what I can. That's just the way it was going to go. You see? See how that creates calm, focus, got this. Like this person says, I can't see your name, unfortunately, but Facebook user, but my husband became a paramedic because he does well in crisis too, because he has a calm, stable thought pattern, right? He doesn't allow emotion to turn it into a thing that is, that then affects his actions, right? Okay, now let's go back to the main thing we're talking about here. We're talking about ribbon, right? So, well, no, stable, secure. I want to come back to stable, secure. How might you think about your life if we know that our life is not stable and secure because we got all the things fixed? Because guess what? That's not how life works. Well, you get one thing figured out, the next thing gets broken, then this happens, and like there's no way to control your exterior situation, right? So what might we do in order to feel stable and secure in the meantime? So I'm talking like the paramedic, the doctor, the guy in the military deployed, where things are not within your control. How might you think about it to feel stable and secure? Sam. Melissa, hey. Life in general. How might you think about life in general to create a feeling of stability and security?
I think it's having a focus. I think it's like you said, but like I think it's being able to trust that the focus that I am aiming for is the right direction.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that the direction has to be right in order for you. Okay, hurricane. The hurricane has to not hit me for me to feel stable and secure.
No, that's not. No, in a hurricane, it would.
What would we think in the hurricane?
What I would think in the hurricane is trusting in, because I'm a person of faith, trusting in the sovereign God that is over all these things, not necessarily causing the things, but over all these things, and trusting that
what? You trust in sovereign God that what?
That I'm connected to him completely. And I'm communicating to him during the process and looking for insight as to how to operate and how to help the people operate. So I guess it's that I end up focusing on the absolute vision I receive.
Yeah, so here, I want to take this one for example, okay? So you're in a hurricane.
Okay.
You may die, you may not die.
Right.
What do you think, right? So I trust in sovereign God what? That what? Because some people do die in hurricanes and they are connected to their God. So what, like that person, what do they think about the hurricane when they're maybe about to be hit by it? When if they're using sovereign God as I trust in sovereign God, that what?
Well, my honest reaction answer is that it will end, and then I won't have to think about all the things in life that I feel unstable about. Or
so, yeah, right. So like look at this though. I trust in sovereign God that this thing is going to end the way it's supposed to end.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you feel peaceful with the idea of death, some of us don't, that's okay. But if you live, cool. Either one. Doesn't matter. I either die or I don't. I don't have control. I can't make hurricanes do anything. But I'm going to just trust in the process. I'm going to just trust in where I am because it's all going to work out in the end. And if it's not, they say, this is from that movie, that Best Marigold Hotel or whatever. If it's if it's not, what did they say? If it's not worked out yet, it's not the end. Right? That's how life is. Like you never know if it's done until it's done. But the idea here is for you and for anyone who's not religious, it's the same concept, right? I trust. So your trust is in sovereign God that he is going to make it the way it's supposed to go, right? And someone who's not religious would have the same thought. That's, I trust in the process that whatever's going to happen is going to happen and I'll deal with it. So now let's go back. Let's change this from hurricane to life. How does Sam feel stable and secure in her life? Sam, go ahead.
I mean, I can see that the thought would be the same, but where I feel combative sounds aggressive, but where internally I feel combative to that simplicity is that I do trust him that generally things will be fine. I don't trust myself to help it go fine.
Oh, okay. Are you the one that controls everything?
No, but we do have to choose, like, what's happening. So in a hurricane, for example, I don't choose any of the things that's happening. I just choose what I'm doing because things are happening.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
But like, if I do nothing and just go with what's happening, things that are happening aren't what I want to be happening. So I need to choose different things to be happening.
Right. So look, here's the model though, right? So results, these are the things that happened, right? Mm-hmm. Things that happened. Now, you have a degree of control here. Everyone has a degree of control over their life. So we're talking about the difference between a hurricane and actual life control. They're two different things. Mm-hmm. But the way we think about them must be the same in order to feel stable and secure. So for instance, in life, we have the ability to create our own actions, right? We can like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to make this salad. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. We have the ability to choose those things. And those are the things that end up making our overall results. So what I'm talking about is like our weight or how we eat or, how healthy we are. Our marriages, our relationships, whatever. All these results come from the stuff that we did for the most part, right? There's stuff that comes in that's uncontrollable, but mostly when we're going for a goal, it doesn't matter how long it takes. If we keep doing the thing, we're going to finally get those results, right? So we can put in those actions in order to create those results. But here's the important part, Sam. This is where it really matters. Talk to me a little bit about the difference between acting from stable and secure or worried, fearful. What kind of actions do you take when you're feeling stable and secure?
That's okay, great. This is perfect because when I feel flowing, stable and secure would be another word I would use, would be in flow. The last thing I want to be doing is dealing with the heaviness of before now because I'm in a passionate moment of moving forward. So I feel like there's dichotomy between cleaning up everything before now and the freedom to just move forward. Because I'm kind of at a place where I have ideas and I'm generating passion about forward momentum from where I am, healing physically and making peace with where I got to physically after last year and all of this, which was a lot to work through. Yeah. Just the state of my physical self and everything else and my limited capacity compared to before last year. Yeah. So I want to just go forward. But then I feel the responsibility to, clean the space up.
We'll go there in one sec. Answer this question first. What type of actions in your life do you take when you feel stable, secure, and in flow? What type of actions do you take? They look kind of stable, secure, and in flow, don't they? The actions.
Yes.
Right? Yes. What type of actions do you take when you're feeling worried and fearful?
I shut down.
Yeah. You don't even act at all. right? Now, what is ideal for you? To be acting out of stability and security and flow, or worry and fear?
No, definitely out of stability.
Okay, so you came on this call today with all thoughts that were creating worry and fear.
Yeah.
And now we realize that in order to get the results we're looking for, we want to come from stability, security, and flow. And in order to do this, in order to shift this, we have to see that our thoughts are what are actually holding us back. So some of your thoughts were, let's talk about the actual ribbon now, okay? The actual specific ribbon that we were talking about earlier. Now that we've done a little bit of that work,
just so I can, it won't make a difference to you, just so I can like keep my brain believing that it's everything and not just the ribbon. We can talk about the stack of student assignments from when I was teaching and loved teaching, and they would give me all of their assignments because
okay,
and I have a lot of them.
memories stuff, right? Memory, we'll put stuff, so it's like we know it's all this stuff, right? Okay, piles of stuff, right? So what do you think about that stuff?
It just feels like it's not like I won't remember the time or the kids if I got rid of it, but like there was, I guess, in receiving the stuff, keeping the stuff, acquiring, it's all the same. A sense of almost like a token of you are who you're supposed to be, valuable. All of that.
Yeah, okay, so let me look at this, Sam.
Which I don't think is a different topic. I think that's the same thing.
So your question is, should I throw it out or not, right? But I want to offer a different place that you could be. So what you're asking is that like this has to be like decisive. Like you have to be in a place of yes or no. Do I want it or do I not want it, right? I got to throw it out. And this is creating thoughts like, do I really, I mean, I know I'm not going to forget them, but do I really want it to be totally gone? Now, this is very black and white. Yes or no, keep it or not. I'd like to offer a different feeling to come from.
That would be good. Mine aren't working.
a different feeling that I offer you.
Yeah.
And this is, I always offer this. You guys are going to see this as a pattern because I think it's everything. This is the feeling I like for us to come from. Curious, creative, compassionate. Those three. What do I mean by that? Curious. Here's the thoughts that come from curious. I don't really want to get rid of it, but what is that? Do I really need it? Yeah, I do want to have something, right? Curious is like, let's ask us some questions about it. What do I really think about this stuff? So you take the object, the stack of things. You're like, okay, sit in front of it. Ask yourself the questions. Curious, do I really need it? Yeah, I really don't want to get rid of it. Do I need it all? Then we start to get creative. Do I need it all? I don't need all of it probably. Let me sort through and see what pieces are really important to me. Okay, now I've got all these pieces. I'm going to be compassionate with myself for the fact that I'm not ready to get rid of it. That's okay. I wonder what I could do with it that would honor it and honor that moment in my life. I wonder if I made a cool piece of art out of it, or if I put it in a really pretty folder and put it with a bunch of my books or something that like it feels honored, but I'm not going to get rid of it yet because it is important to me. Right? You see that this space right here is very different than this space, which is like, I got to get rid of this because it means I'm a hoarder if I don't. Be compassionate with yourself. You have emotional connection. I was a preschool teacher 20 years ago, and I still have things in some dumb box. It's in our Christmas box where we keep all our Christmas decorations. Pull it out every year. Every year when we do our Christmas tree, I'm like, oh, it's the little teddy bear that so-and-so got for me. Should I get rid of it? No, I don't want to. It makes me happy every time I see it. You are the creator of your world. You are the creator of your results. But if you're coming from, I got to get rid of this. This means I'm a hoarder. If I don't, I got to figure something out. No. Let's try this one. I'll give you an example. I would love for you to watch the show. I think it's called The Magic of Tidying Up or something with Marie Kondo. Have you heard of her? Okay, you're going to love this show. It's on Netflix. It's like only like 8 shows or something like that, but she's this professional organizer from Japan. And the question that I want you to watch several episodes of this if you can. The question that she always asks her folks is, when you get in front of a thing, you ask yourself the question, this is the only question that matters. You'll see that this fits in here. Does it spark joy for me? That's it. That's the only question you ask about the thing. If it's a yes, you keep it. If it's a no, you toss it. Does it spark joy? So we're thinking about the ribbon. We've got 20, 30 ribbons. I don't know. Do we need all the ribbons? Do they spark joy? Yes, I love thinking about who I was. Do I need all of them? No, I'll just keep one as a reminder, and I'll put it over here so it's really special. You got a bunch of notebooks with old stuff in it, homework perhaps, something. You go, does it spark joy? No, I don't really need it anymore. Does it spark joy? Does it spark joy? Does it spark joy? That way you're not throwing stuff out because you think you have to. You're throwing it out because you're honoring who you are now. The other thing that you have going on in there is that if I throw it out, I will lose that piece of me. Be compassionate with yourself and honor that part of you who doesn't want to lose the memories. That's a very human thing, is to connect and hold on to the things that we had in the past. Let that be okay. Don't let it mean that you're a hoarder or that you haven't moved on, or you're making stories up about it. It doesn't have to mean any of that. It can mean that you honor and love the girl you were when you were struggling. Or you honor and love the children that were in your life and you don't want to get rid of it. So make a cool mural and have it on your wall where you get to see them every day, instead of it being hidden in a room where you're feeling all sorts of ways about it. Like, it shouldn't be here. Why am I holding on to this? What's wrong with me? It's like, no, I get to see them every day. I love them. Okay, what's coming up for you?
That it makes sense. So I was also hearing you and letting it make sense and trying to see what else was combating what you're saying. Not to look for argument.
Yeah, no, this is a very good exercise. Yep.
I don't know. I think I might be at a point where I need to process it, and like you had mentioned once before, maybe touch back, I suppose, and see.
Yeah. Here's what I recommend. Okay. So when I do an hour session with someone, it brings up a lot of stuff, especially if we do a heavy one like this, right? If we're just talking about food, usually it doesn't get this heavy. But when it's something that we've been carrying around for a long time, it can feel really heavy. So the best thing for us to do after you've gotten coached, let it simmer for a week or 2 or 3 or 4. Just let it simmer, roll around in your brain. And that's why I love to get into private coaching relationships with people, because we'll do this stuff for 12 weeks and there will be so much stuff that comes up. Usually what I'll do is we'll do a session and we'll wait a week or 2 before we go into something else, because there's a lot to process. You really have to give yourself processing time to let it seep into your brain and integrate, right? We even call these integration weeks, where we'll take some time off and just integrate for a while. And what I want for you to do, Sam, specifically, is let it soak in for a while. See what feels true for you, see what doesn't feel true. But what I really want you to do, we're going to be posting that. I mean, this is going to be posted automatically on Facebook and YouTube. Go back and watch it in a week and see what comes up for you then. You're going to be a completely different person, because we demolished a bunch of stuff in here today. You're going to be a completely different person than you were before you came on this call. And you're going to see so many new things that you didn't pick up the first time I said it today. keep watching it. That's why my programs, the Academy, the Quick Start program, people watch them 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, because every time they watch it 6 months apart or whatever, they learn all these new things because they've turned into a different person at that point, right? So I want you to rewatch this in like a week, and I want you to just let it settle. And then for you and for anyone else who comes on these coaching sessions, you can always come again, right? So maybe we'll do this again in 3, 4 weeks or something like that. We'll see where you went, or you and I can chat about it on Facebook or whatever, see how we're feeling. And then just see where it goes. You'll take the pieces that feel right for you. You'll push aside the pieces you're not ready for, and just integrate and see where it goes.
Actually, yes to all of those things. Okay. I did think of one, I guess, clarity question.
Yes.
That was able to come up while we're still here for anyone. Is there another, it sounds like semantics, but it caught me, which is there another way to phrase, does it spark joy? Because when I then think about, I just envisioned myself going back in and asking that question. Because of the past memories, there are tiny pieces of joy that all the things spark, as annoying as they are in their wholeness. So is there a different?
Yeah, that's why I like the word, not just creative, but I like curious as well, because there's a bunch of questions in there that I asked. Does it spark joy is one to start with. Then it's, do I really need all of this? Can I get by with some of it? Creative, what could I do with it that wouldn't feel heavy, like just holding on to it? What could I do with it that will honor it, right? What can I do with this that's going to feel light to hold on to it? You see what I mean? So the difference, it's not just, does it spark joy? Okay, I'm going to hold on to all those papers. It's then, okay, it sparks joy. There's something about this that feels important to me to keep right now. Maybe it won't always feel this way, but right now it feels important. So then we go into the rest of the questions. How can I keep it in a way that doesn't feel heavy to me? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That makes sense. This is probably a stupid question, and you might say it's up to the person, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Yeah. So I was trying to ask for visions, and this may be silly. I just thought about getting several boxes, because when I get stuck and I leave. So it's how to be stuck. Maybe I can start categorically understanding why this is making, because here's what I'm thinking. If this is yes, basic, silly, random example, students' artwork. Okay, yes, it does. Like, why? And then I feel like if I could categorize, this brings me joy, category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then at the end, it would be so much things in that category, because I've sorted it, that I could go back and be like, oh, okay, what in this category do I want to remember this category of joy? Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, but I also see it as creating more work for you.
That is what I do every time. That's why.
Yeah, and I know this because this is who I am too. Every time I have a creative idea, I make it really, really hard until I always break it down to the easiest one. Like, what is the easiest? It's a yes or it's a no. So I don't want you to do that right now. You can do it later, but as you do this, Sam, you're going to be collecting data in your head. You're going to see how much stuff you have in these different categories. You'll notice as you go. So one of this is just like trusting your brain is going to categorize this stuff for you. You'll understand it. Don't add more work, because if you add more work, then it's going to just even be more overwhelming, right? I think actually what's happening here is that your brain is looking for ways to not do this subconsciously. So it's like, oh, let's do it this way so that I can really understand it and figure it out. But then you're going to get overwhelmed and be like, I'm not going to do it at all, right? What I want you to do is keep it so simple. Yes or no. I just want you to have two things that you decide. Not this one. It's not it must go or stay. It's either a yes, I'm keeping it for some reason. I don't know yet. I'm not going there yet. Or a no joy at all, throwing it in the trash. Or giving it away, right? Because the other thought you have is it's a waste if I throw it away. But listen, it's a waste if it's just sitting in your house. You're not actually using it. So someone else could actually use it. And what I love to do, we do this now. I never sell anything anymore. I always give it away, because I feel, and I know this from experience. You say something's free, 10 people are going to line up to get it, and they might actually really want it and use it. So my thought is, let's make it, is it better for it to sit in my house and languish while I don't use it, which is a waste? It's a waste of space and brain space for you. And it also is depriving someone else of using the thing. So I think of it like that. Then if you think of it as just like paper or something no one else will use, well, great, we'll recycle it or something, right? But this idea of, is it a waste? It's a waste if it just sits in your house. So how can you reach out to the person that actually really wants it and needs it? I'll just give, for anyone watching this, the Nextdoor website is such a great place for this kind of stuff, because it's your particular neighborhood, and you'll get in this neighborhood and you can just put up a post and say, does anyone want this? You'll have someone in your house in an hour to pick that thing up, I promise you. And then they will actually use it. It's nextdoor.com if anyone wants to watch that. Okay, let me look at a few comments here. Yeah, there's a lot of channels on YouTube and places. And that's what I would do, right? Is start with a yes or no. Is it a no? That's the best one. If you can fill that up first, it's a no. And then we also don't want to be overwhelmed. I need to say this one last thing about it, though, is now you don't want to be overwhelmed with giving stuff away, because that's a lot of work, right? So I want you to think about this idea of, is it better for me to throw it in the trash or have it sit in my house for the next 6 months while I decide who to give it to, right? Don't get caught in the weeds of, now who do I give this to? And oh, it's so much work to put it up on this website and whatever. Like, another creative way, keep this simple. I want you to keep going back to simple, simple. How can I make this simpler? Is I'm going to put all the no stuff in a big, huge box, and I'm going to put it somewhere where I can just say, hey, free garage, like free open garage. They call it curb alert, right? Go put it down by the curb, take a picture of it and be like, all this stuff is available. Anyone can have it. Do it all at once, so you're not like overwhelmed with finding the right person for it or whatever. Just do curb alert and have just people can come take it. I guarantee you, people love this stuff. They will do that in a second. So yes or no, put all the no's in a place, do a curb alert every week or something, every day if you need to. And all the yeses, get a little intentional. Do I really need it? Does it really spark joy? Do I need all of it? How can I keep it in a way that feels good to me? Right? Okay. I'm going to disagree with you here, Rochelle. You say curb alerts aren't good because they could cause multiple people to take special trips for the same item, but only the first person to get there will get it. It's not about those people wasting time per se. It's about Sam getting this stuff out of her life as quick as possible. And that's what's important here.
Right? I will say, just to help make it clear, we actually have a neighborhood Facebook page that's very active, and people always put on all the time, outside this, that, and the other. So I personally, I could understand what that person was just saying about the curb alert, but in our neighborhood, it's like an internal curb alert, and they wouldn't be disservicing themselves more than like around the corner.
Yep.
I feel safer with that, and we're fine.
And I think it's a matter of prioritizing who's more important here, because like, it's more important for you to get the stuff out of your life than it is to do all the different things for all the different things and then not throw it out because you get overwhelmed with that, right? I believe the most important thing here is just to simplify. And yeah, Linda says, think of the joy someone else would have with the ribbon, right? You're so welcome, Shiva. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and Dorothy says she also only gives away. There's another one from Rochelle that says there's a channel on YouTube called Hoarder's Heart that I highly recommend.
I just found her, and I resonate. So yeah, helpful.
Free Spirit says, oh my gosh, I needed this talk. Holy moly, I'm stuck in that place with so much stuff I'll never use. I'm going to listen to this a few times. Words to process into actions. Free Spirit is actually in our Eat to Live family. By the way, if you're watching this call and you really like it, you can either you have 3 options, right? You can either just continue to come to these and hope you get enough on the free sessions every week. You can join the Eat to Live family, which, by the way, is one of the best affordable ways to do this, because I do this exact type of coaching twice a month. I usually spend about 2 to 3 hours, and I'll do 3 or 4 people at a time. So you could come on and get coached just like this if you were inside of the Eat to Live family, which is very affordable. We're opening up again the second week of April, right after the challenge that's coming up. Okay. And then the third way is to get private coached, right? So I have room for one more client right now. And then Nancy and Lydia have a couple spots as well. So feel free to get coached that way if you want. Let's see what else we have. Follow-up sessions. Dorothy says she would like to hear some follow-up stuff. So we'll make that work.
Yeah, there's no way I would even, not that this was a thing, there's no way I would show anything of it now. But I could take progress pictures. I could show before and after because.
And you don't have to show anything, but just to talk about it and revisit it, right? Yep. Anything you want to do. Yeah. Hello, dear. Good. Okay. We have some great comments here. I'm so glad that this was useful for everybody. Rochelle, thank you, sweetheart. She says the family is a complete support and resource community. In the family, it's not only like hundreds of us that are all doing this kind of coaching stuff, but it's we have the coaching calls, but we also have my Eat to Live Academy, my quick start program for weight loss and healthy eating consistency, which anyone can get started with immediately when they start up. That's all in there, and it's all super, super affordable monthly rate. Okay, so I'm going to just tell you how to access these things real quick, friends. So if you want to join the family and you're really interested in getting coaching like this at an affordable rate, you can go here, thewateringmouth.com/family. I believe that we have a wait list that you can sign up for. The other thing I recommend is we're going to be doing a free 6-day Eat to Live challenge coming up. Yes, 6 days this time. It's starting the first week in April. I think it's the 3rd. It's going to be a 6-day challenge. I'm going to be doing another live workshop during it. I'd love for you to go to thewateringmouth.com/challenge to go sign up for that. And we'll send it out to you for free. You might as well do it because you'll get the free recipes and all that. And then you also can get access to that free workshop that I'm going to be doing. And then once that challenge is done, the following week, which is the 2nd week of April, we're opening the Eat to Live family again. So if you'd like to join us in there and get this awesome coaching, you will automatically be notified about that when it opens up. And then last but not least, if you are interested in coming on to a discovery call with us to find out if private coaching might be right for you, which is it's one of my favorite ways of doing this because I can really dig in. Like imagine if Sam and I could have 12 sessions on all the things that are coming up in her life. We would knock some of that stuff out for good, right? So if you're interested in private coaching, I require that you first watch the training video. You got to watch the training video first to be able to get on a discovery call with us, but the discovery calls are free. So just go to info.thewateringmouth.com/free-training. And you'll learn all about how to get into private coaching with us, okay? And actually, last but not least, if you want to be coached like this, like Sam, our brave Sam did, just go to thewateringmouth.com/request. Just fill that out and we will slot you in sometime really soon to get coached for free by me. I would love to. It'd be an honor. Thank you for that. Let's see these final. Oh, well, back at you, my friend. Shiva says, Cheri, I have fallen in love with you. Well, I'm in love with you too. Thank you. I am very, very lovable. And I have so much more love waiting for you in the Eat to Live family too. Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many things. I always forget all the stuff that's there. Blog, the recipes, the grocery list. There's so much stuff in the family, so many resources. And yeah, Dorothy says, we just want to know how you're doing, Sam. Nothing to prove. We don't need to see any proof or anything, but we would love to hear back from you somehow. And by the way, we're doing a little group chat too in the High Nutrient Lifestyle group. Sam is in there too. You can talk to her in there if you want. And then Rochelle says, oh, she already said that one. Yeah. And I like this one again too. Okay. All right, friends. Sam, thank you so much for being so vulnerable, being here with us today and letting us break it down. Unmute yourself so we can just say goodbye real quick.
Thank you. So you didn't echo. Thank you. And for everyone's compassion and support.
You're so welcome. Love to you, Sam. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I appreciate you. We will talk to her again soon. You're so welcome, Natalie. She says, thank you so much for all the helpful tips. And a very sincere thanks to you, Sam, for being so vulnerable and courageous and sharing with us. Yeah, she was the real VIP on this one. I appreciate you so much when you all open up and show these things because I know that you guys could see that really what's going on here is just it's a variation on a theme, right? Everything that we see that we get coached on, we all have the same issues. And when we watch someone else get coached, it's like getting coached ourselves. I've heard this so many times, right? And I feel the same way too when I watch other people get coached. I feel like I'm coaching myself. I feel like, you can always pick something up. So I'm so glad that we have this time together. You're so welcome, Rochelle. And yes, Dorothy, everyone says, thank you, Sam. Misty says, thank you, Sam, for being so vulnerable. I can totally relate to needing to get rid of something for sure. And then also, I think it was maybe Dorothy who said this earlier, but the feeling of finally, I don't know if they said that, but the feeling of finally cleaning things up and not having the brain space being taken up anymore it's a singular thing. Like, it's hard to create that otherwise in life. What we're trying to do here with the coaching, with healthy eating and not healthy eating and these kinds of things, consistency, we're trying to create more brain space. We're trying to make it so that we have more to dedicate to the stuff that's important to us in our life, right? So if we can give up, if we can get rid of the stuff in our house, if we can get rid of the emotional eating and we can get rid of these things that hold us back, sky's the limit for the stuff that we can create in our life, right? And that's what we're doing. So, okay, friends. Yes, sending so much love back to all of you. I appreciate you. Thanks for staying here. I never mean to do an hour and 15, but you know me. So we'll be back. We're going to be doing one more session next week. And then I'm going to be taking a 2-week break because I'll be doing a big workshop the following week during the challenge. And then the week after that, we're opening the family. So I'm going to be focusing on those 2 things during those 2 weeks. And right after that, we'll be doing some more of these free coaching sessions on Fridays. Okay, so make sure you come back next week, Friday, for this. I love you all. Have a great weekend because, hey, now it's the weekend. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.